Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to this video. We will talk about the June astrology and we will also get into your zodiac specific behavior throughout this month. I will still be making tarot videos, so if you're interested in a tarot reading, you can access that as I upload it. Subscribe and hit the bell so you are notified whenever the videos are up. Let's get started. On the 2nd of the month, we have a favorable aspect going on between your 10th house and your 6th house. So your 10th house talks about your public reputation, the way that you feel in the world and how strangers recognize you and how the world sees you as well. And the 6th house talks about your health, lifestyle, routines, and also your day-to-day work. So your 9 to 5 or the way that you come into service in the world. So a favorable aspect between this indicates that you're having some type of rest time or you're enjoying the work that you're doing on this day or around this time, and that brings you a sense of peace and happiness. Also, if you play a more public role in the world, the way that you're approaching and coming to service to the world, and your healing professions or your creative industries, that is going to be more favorable. You might find yourself feeling more inspired in general. On the 4th of the month, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. So the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Sag. So this activates your 9th and 3rd houses. There can be some travel plans that come up, or you have some type of realization that changes your mindset and the way that you see things. There is also a chance of meeting people from different backgrounds or connecting with people from different languages and different cultural backdrops, and that kind of heightens your awareness or shows you a different perspective of how other people live and how we simultaneously have multiple realities playing at the same time. So it's a very interesting one. Really puts things into perspective, especially for you. The same day we have a Mercury conjunct Uranus in Taurus, and that's happening in your 8th house. So your shared resources come up to the surface. If you're sharing resources like your home or your finances or any like food material, gas bills, electricity bills, any of these things, there can be some changes that are happening, and you are creating some sort of discussion or meeting with the people you share all of these things with. On the other hand, if you're not yet sharing your resource, there can be this, time that you're exchanging goods or you're sharing your space with a partner, for example, or even getting some roommates that are more your vibe. There can be some, breakthroughs as well that happen regarding your investments, inheritances, taxes, things of this sort, where you're pleasantly surprised or you get some information that is new to you, you had not noticed before, but it is now at the forefront and you can make certain choices if it is relevant for you. It's generally use case. Apart from this, we also have some breakthroughs in psychological realms. The 8th house is really about the subconscious mind. So how you think and how you perceive the world as a result of conditioning or behavioral patterns that can come up to the surface. For example, some people are a little bit more reactive to difficult circumstances. Meanwhile, others just take it in stride or take it as an opportunity. So the optimistic outlook versus pessimistic outlook, or the realistic outlook, that's something that falls in the 8th house. The reasoning why that would be the case. So you might find some type of clarity, especially if you go for therapy or so. It's a very important time period that you might get some clarity. Next, on the 5th of the month, we have Venus moving into Leo, and this is an important transit because it's going to be here for quite some time. It will go retrograde in the zodiac and it will go direct again. So Leo topics with Venus involved is going to be super, super prominent in everyone's lives, especially if you're a day chart. You might see some of these events playing out more prominently in your life since the ruler of Leo is the sun. Okay, so what this would mean for you is that your friendship circles, people might be getting together, like your friends might start dating, or if they're already dating, they might take their relationship to the next level. This also brings you some luck and fortune regarding your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, something you thought was, very far away in the future, or you had not really put any plans in place, that you can see some developments that are encouraging you to make certain plans or make certain promises to the people that you care about. In general, this can be a social time for you as well. You might be reconsidering certain friend groups too, maybe unsubscribing or decluttering your social space and the type of people that you connect with in general. Okay, and also one other thing to note is that Leo is very warm and generous. It is very, encouraging of people, naturally motivating and inspiring. That's why it's called the natural leader. And Venus over here is really blessing your leadership abilities. If you undersell yourself in your ability of achieving certain goals, with Venus here, you're going to have to take a deeper look into these topics in order to uncover more of your personal power. The same day, we have an opposition with Venus with Pluto in Aquarius. So the 11th house, 5th house activation takes place here. And there can be this push and pull dynamic of I would like to do these things for myself and I want power for myself, or I want to, exert my personal will and not care about other people. But at the same time, Venus and Leo is like, well, we got to take care of other people as well, or we need to, take into account other people's opinions or their viewpoint, because 11th house talks about the public, the collective good. So some of you might want to express yourself creatively, but instead of there is basically a push and pull of, do I want to do this for myself or do I want to do this for the world? Is there any relevance of what I am going through, and is there any benefit that I can make in the world, right? You be the power of the change. That's kind of the topic here, because at this time Pluto is retrograde, and whenever it does that, it means that we have to create the change. Change does not happen to us. It is internal, and it is inside out that we start seeing these shifts. Okay, so in our personal lives, in the backdrop, there can be, for example, the removal of shyness so that you can express yourself more boldly, or this can even be paying attention to what other people have to say, because you can gather some valuable insights for yourself and therefore encourage your own inner power. On the 7th of the month, we have Venus in Leo squaring with North Node in Taurus, and this brings the focus onto your 11th house and your 8th house. So there can be some fears and insecurities that stop you, or you might feel like resistant to change, or it might feel a little bit uncomfortable to take certain steps or measures. For example, if you want to move to a different location or a different country, it is an uncomfortable situation because you don't yet know a lot of things. On the flip side, you might be very sure that you want to be an artist or a performer of sorts, or you want to use your voice for good, but at the same time you've never done it before and you don't know what other people might think, etc. So these are the things that might come up at this time, but the good thing is North Node is the direction of benefit or fulfillment. A sense of satisfaction comes in when you deal with the North Node topics. So as you do your shadow work, you will find more benefits that can be channeled into your self-expression. On the 11th, we have Mercury moving into Gemini from the sign of Taurus. So it will activate, again, it will bring you more mental focus into your 9th house. So traveling abroad, learning foreign languages, or delving into foreign cultures, making foreign connections and exploring different communities is very highlighted here. This can also mean that if you have some legal work or documentation to get done, some languages to do, this is a very nice time to get into it. You're likely to have your mind very open and find the right information sources and people as well who can help you out throughout your journey. If you already have some paperwork going on, this day is likely to give you positive results, or the days following this. We have the same day Mercury trining with Pluto in Aquarius, so whatever happens is really helping you out in releasing yourself from your own cages, your own overthinking patterns and things of that nature, so that you can again speak more clearly, communicate your inner voice, and communicate very authentically for the greater good. Same day, we have Pluto moving from Aquarius to Capricorn. Again, it is retrograde, so it is re-looking at things. It is making sure that the lessons it has learned in the past couple months is still valid for what we have already learned while Pluto was in Capricorn since 2008. So the focus shifts from your 5th house to your 4th house. So for example, if you've been having a lot of conversations about having children and how that might change your life, or about how if you focus more on expressing your inner child, or your sense of creativity, how that would really impact your personal world, like expressing your originality really sets you free, things of that nature. Now you are going to be looking at, how does this affect my family? What would the family structure be like? You've learned some things, you've gone through certain changes in this area of your life since 2008, perhaps changing your home a lot, or having another member enter your family, so having a sibling, for example, or nephews and nieces who you're really close to. And the viewpoint that you have regarding family and the structures within it, that might be going through some changes at this time. You are more likely to express your inner voice within your family structures compared to before. Same day, we have Venus in Leo squaring with Jupiter in Taurus. Once again, this activates that 11th house and the 8th house topic we were seeing. So the aspect itself is not the worst, but it can talk about overindulgence. But used effectively, this creates a large breakthrough coming from a sense of love, respect, and duty as well. So there is a sense of breakthrough. I learned something that I did not realize before, but now that I know this, I don't want to go back, or I would love to implement the changes right away, something of that sort. On the 15th, we have Mercury in Gemini squaring with Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is a mutable sign square, and the good side is that we are naturally adaptable and able to go with the flow regardless of what your natural tendency is. But the fault of this is that we might not know where exactly we're going, so we have to experiment a lot in order to figure out. So we can't expect to have a clear plan of action from the get-go. Now, this is affecting your your 9th house and your 6th house. Okay, so this here, yes, 6th house, yes, I was just verifying. So this here talks about how your belief systems have framed the way that you operate in your everyday life. For example, if you think that you have to work really hard in order to make money, then you're more prone to work really hard in order to believe that you can have more money. Same goes with, you have to always be on your health, and you cannot ever lax out, you cannot ever relax in order to have a good mindset or a good lifestyle. Then that's what you're likely to exhibit. That's what you're manifesting in your life as well. So what do you think and what do you feel, and how does that really create the life that you are living at this time? Is that a true expression of who you are at this point in time? Because yes, conditioning makes sense at some point, but it does not always make sense in every situation, because our lives is very different from our predecessors. So it's important to take another look once in a while. So 15th is one of those days. Any adjustments you need to make is possible to make on this time, but make sure to not try to set it in stone. Go with the flow, be open to ideas, be listening to your intuition. That's super important. On the 17th, we have Saturn in Pisces going retrograde, and that again is in your 6th house. So there can be some work restructuring, perhaps some projects you've had, some of them might randomly stop and new ones might randomly begin, and there's just like a mishmash of who does what. So roles and responsibilities can move around a little bit, or you are the one who's changing your work setup in order to make better sense, to boost your mood, to motivate you to work better or to work out more, to have a little bit of a flow in your everyday life and to incorporate new habits that you've been meaning to, but now you have the chance to make the necessary changes. On the 18th, we have the new moon in Gemini, and that is activating your 9th house again. And this indicates new legal communication, new languages, new awareness, and belief systems come to the forefront. Now, this one is squaring with Neptune as well, so there can be a little bit of a vagueness. Neptune is about the intuition, so in a good way, if you pay attention to that, it's going to be beneficial, but it might be preceded by a little bit of vagueness, like you don't know which way to go. You feel like a new beginning is coming up and that there's something that needs to be changed, but you don't quite know what exactly that is, okay? Be patient with yourself. It's going to sort itself out in a couple of days. It's just this particular day you might feel it a little bit. On the 19th, we have the sun in Gemini squaring with Neptune in Pisces. Again, the same square activates of the 9th and the 6th. So your beliefs are still under question, and you might put more focus on that belief system part and be like, okay, so I gotta get this done. I have to get this done. And you might have to, ask certain people some information or, direction for which way do I go and how am I supposed to figure this out. Maybe there's something that I have not yet seen or not yet known and things like that. So it's a little bit more, it's a good idea to take action for sure, but pay attention to your intuition and go with the flow. On the 21st, we have the summer solstice and the sun moves into Cancer. So we have Cancer season beginning, and this brings back the focus onto your 10th house of career, public reputation, and you are more likely in the spotlight at this time, and you might be more inclined to work from home, or you're more productive whenever you work from home or on your feelings. There's also a likelihood that you are connecting more with your mother figure or your sister if you have any. The feminine side of you and the people who represent this feminine side of you are going to come out to the forefront. So you're connecting more with that home and family side of things. Also, the more nurturing side of you is more visible around this time. You might be a compassionate guide, for example, or, in your workspace, you are the one that people come to for, expressing themselves and coming for guidance as well. On the 25th, we have Mercury in Gemini square Neptune in Pisces. Once again, the same square is activated repeated times in this month for you, the 9th and the 6th. What is your lifestyle? What is your health? And how can you improve it? What is your belief system? How do you see the world? What do you want to head towards? What's your future vision? All of these things come up here. What do you envision for yourself, and what are you planning for yourself 5 years down the line or 3 years down the line, and all of that. Once again, things seem a little bit muddy, but I would imagine that as we hit the same square multiple times, we're gathering a little bit of new information each time. Okay, so that's why I said be a little bit patient with this one. It will wrap itself up as we come into the last week. On the 26th, we have Mars in Leo squaring with Uranus in Taurus, and that is activating your 11th house and your 8th house. So we talked about this in the second week of the month, and the same theme is coming in here, but with a little bit of a twist. Instead of Venus, we have Mars squaring. So Mars and Uranus have very strong wills, and the difference is that Uranus is going to have the last word. It is the faraway planet, and it is having the higher impact, and it has been in Taurus for quite some time. Now, Mars wants to take action right away. It might be that once again, you want to move towards your goals like right now. You want to go for that adventure right away, and you're feeling that sense of spontaneity. But Uranus in Taurus might be like, can I do this? There's a little bit of a fear, or there's a sort of anticipation that comes in. So it's not necessarily bad, but make sure that you're watchful and you're careful, because for some reason I'm feeling accidents can happen. Nothing too major, but there can be some accidents that happen, like misunderstandings even, or just scratching yourself on a thorny bush. Random stuff like that can happen here. So don't overstretch yourself. Do what is comfortable. And the way to resolve squares is that you pay equal attention to both sides, so that you're fueling the energy that's already present. If we don't fuel it, that's when we feel the frustration and anxiety. Okay, on the 27th, we have Mercury moving into Cancer from Gemini. So this one is, again, bringing your mind towards your workspace, your public life, and the legacy you want to be leaving behind. There can be more professional communication or more professional network that builds here. You're feeling more, emotionally connected with your coworkers or your workspace, or the way that you are in the world. You might be brainstorming on how you can create more of this quality in your business, for example, or in your everyday life. How are you changing yourself to shift the way that people see you in the world? So you can be communicating more as well. If you have any presentations, for example, it's likely that you're speaking really well and you're appealing to the emotional senses of the general public. On the 29th, we have the Sun in Cancer trining with Saturn in Pisces, and this is a really favorable aspect. And Cancer, again, is your 10th house, and Pisces is your 6th house. So your work life is being blessed here. You are being visible, and it's likely that you're getting some compliments from people you meet on a regular basis or in your workspace. Also, your work is being noticed and your value is quite clear. There can be conversations with your bosses or some type of evaluation. If that is going on, then it's likely turning out in your favor. On the 30th, we have Neptune in Pisces going retrograde. And retrograde Neptune means that there is a sort of disillusionment if you have been fantasizing about something and is not true. It's not all roses and sunshine. There are clouds sometimes, there are difficulties in each and everything that we try. So it's not all ideal. But on the good side, it really brings the reality into focus and we are able to do something about it. It's better to know than to not know. Meanwhile, when Neptune is direct, it means ignorance is bliss, right? So two schools of thought, take it as it resonates. And again, it's a faraway planet, so it's going to affect everyone a little bit differently depending on what you are generally used to. Okay, now the same day we have Mercury in Cancer, trining with Saturn in Pisces. Okay, so this is the same one that happened the previous day, but on the previous day we had the Sun and now we have Mercury. So this over here is indicating that conversations you have with someone can be illuminating. And while there is a sense of disillusionment, it's not the end of the world. You actually end up finding something good that you can do, something new you can try. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take this as an opportunity. I'm going to take this as a good thing and I'm going to roll with it. It can even be healing pieces of information. If you have some healing professions, it can be that people are coming back to you. They want to, understand more about themselves and you are the only one they feel can help them out. Okay, so lots of good stuff. There are some challenging things, but I think they're really wonderful learning opportunities, and as long as we flow with the energy, it is going to be fine. So that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed and that the messages help you out throughout the month. Stay tuned for the tarot reading for your zodiac sign as well. I will be uploading them soon. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever that's up. And if you enjoyed the reading, please do like and comment your thoughts if you have any. It will be really lovely to hear back from you and it really helps the channel grow as well. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.